to another episode of Love, Sex, Lies, and Reality Talks. Today, it's all about is your spec in your specs. Yes, most of the time you have those specifications that you're looking to vet a partner with, but you may get carried away by the emotions and the looks and forget to look for the spec in your specs. So when you're looking to go on a date for the first time and you're not paying attention, you may be picking up a spec that's not in your spec. How are you evaluating that potential partner? Is that specification you're looking for and you're seeing in front of you in the specifications and requirements that you have written or mentally created to check the potential partner with? You see, if you get carried away, you will ignore the red flags, and when you ignore the red flags, you will end up getting into a space where you don't belong. And at the end of the relationship, you may start saying, oh, this dude or this babe is not it. They're a fool. They're this, they're that. But you forget that the spec wasn't in your spec. And if you're looking only for the spec on the, material level, then you may not know your worth yet, because material things expire. They don't last long. They're not for a lifetime. And so if you're looking on the external, and you're not looking within, and you're not connecting to the soul, you may be creating that problem for yourself and shifting the blame on somebody else. This is why you need to take charge of the now that you're in. If you're single and you're looking to be in a healthy relationship going forward, if you're not looking for the spec in your specs, then you're going to pick up a spec that's not yours. You're going to pick up a reeb that's not meant to be your reeb or your flesh or your bone of bones, and you cannot blame that person because you also had a part to play in it. And so it's a game. Remember what I always share with you: dating is a game. It's a vetting and sorting game. That's in my book on Becoming Restored. And if you're not vetting and sorting the partner, guess what? You are picking up other people's specs and you're trying to use them for your own specs, but it's all a game. It's all a mind game. And when the mind game's over, the reality sinks in. You figure out, hey, I made a boo-boo. I made a mistake. And it's not really a mistake. I just needed to learn this lesson so that I can make sure that the spec is always in my spec when I'm looking for the specs in a dating game. It's not a relationship. It is just the beginning of evaluation to be able to select and make sure that the person you're selecting is the one you will spend your lifetime with if you're looking for a relationship. If you're not committed to yourself, you will also pick up a spec that is not in your specs. If you don't even have specs, requirements, relationship requirements and goals, you will be picking up several specs that are not yours, and you'll be learning along the lessons of life on that road to finding that potential partner that you don't know yourself yet. And you need to check back in with yourself and make sure that your specs match up with the spec that you're trying to pick up. So basically, it's all in your court. And if you're not doing the work, then guess what? The spec will show you that you need to do the work. And you can't blame them at that point, because God always brings us those people that we need when we need them. But if the ego is too big to receive, we will start shifting blame. We will not become accountable. We will not become responsible for our life, but we are indeed the CEO of our life. And so you can't hand your life over to somebody else and expect them to live it for you like you would, because nobody can truly live your life for you like you would. Nobody can truly love you in life like you would. It all begins with you. And if you're not taking care of you and creating the specs, that spec will show you that they're not in your spec, and then you have to go back to the drawing board and figure out yourself and do the work while you're still here breathing and living, because time is not even guaranteed to anybody else. So as a single person, you may be single, never be married. You may be single, divorced. You may be single, widowed. Make sure that the spec is in your spec before you pick up somebody else's spec. And they bring you that conscious awakening that they are not the spec that you need. So you need to make sure that you are the chooser. Because when you make sure that you're the chooser, whatever you choose becomes the reality. And if you're choosing wrongly, and there's no really wrong or right, if you're choosing what is not in your spec, it is because you don't yet know your spec. And you're not yet the spec that you're looking for. Let me say that again. If you're picking up a spec that is not meeting up to the specs that you're looking for, it is because you don't yet know your spec. You don't yet know you. You don't yet have the core values. You don't have requirements that you're using to sort and vet partners in a dating game. And you're just winging it. And winging it is very costly. And you don't want to be the one destroying your own emotional and mental health. You want to be the one building your emotional health and emotional intelligence to where you become mature enough to be able to say, you know what? I made this blunder. I take charge of it. I contributed to it. I'm going to do the work to make sure that I'm not repeating patterns and cycles, because if you don't watch it, a habit of picking up the specs that's not in your spec becomes a repeated pattern, and the repeated pattern becomes a lifestyle, and that lifestyle is what you leave out. So if you find yourself picking up the wrong specs all the time, take a rain check on yourself, because you may be the one hurting you, and you don't want to be the source of your own unhappiness and your own emotional pain and trauma. You want to be the one healing yourself and doing the work and evolving in life's journey while you're still breathing and living. That's all I have for today, guys. Always make sure that you check to see that the spec is in your specs, and if it's not, then go back to the drawing board, do the work, and figure out what you need to do to get to make sure that the specs are being evaluated and you're checking off the green flags and not picking up the red flags. Because if the red flags will hurt you, the green ones will help you become enlightened and know that you're on the right path in your journey and you're building stronger and you're both supporting each other, because that's what relationship is. It's a partnership where you both support each other's growth and you grow together. Will there be many conflicts? Yes, but you will resolve them amicably, and you will realize you have made the best decision for your life while you're still here on earth. Never stop loving while living. When you stop loving, you stop living. When you stop living, it means that it's time to go back to the maker. But while you're still breathing and living, make sure you're loving yourself. Make sure you know your specs, and make sure that your spec is in your spec. Until next time, take good care. God bless. Bye-bye.